First of all, I would like to respect teacher So Chanta, the teacher of ING Bayson Buon time evening. And good evening, everyone. Here is the video the teacher assigned to do to replace the final exam, as we cannot attend in school, as this time is we are fighting coronavirus pandemic, and teacher assigned us many topic to choose one to present, to record the video present for teacher, and I choose the comparative government of Singapore. And here is the table of content. I have 4 points to share in this. The first one is introduction, the second is institution of government of Singapore, and the 5 is theoretical approach to comparative politics of government, and 4 is conclusion, and then we go to the reference. The introduction, as we know that Singapore is located in South Asia. It's smallest country. The Republic of Singapore is a small island in Southeast Asia, but its GDP considered as the highest in the region. It got independent in August 1965 with Lee Kuan Yew and Yusof bin Ishaq as the first prime minister. Despite its small territory and few population, no national resource, human resource, but the country still become developed country in the region. And continue with the key term. I just raised up two. The first one is government. It refers to commonly describe government. The word like monarchy, oligarchy, and democracy are the crutch of Roman region. It refers to the head of state, the head of government who lead the country. In a democrat government, it refers to the leader who elect by the people, and to keep peace, stability, develop the country, and release new policy to improve education, improve any sector that the people need. And continue with the politics. Mainly the politics has a broad meaning, and if the way to lead the country also called politics. The government who competitive with the opposition party and win the election. During the competition to win the election, we also call the politics. After they win and they control the country, they lead the country, also we can use it as the politics. The policy always association with the people. The people cannot live without politics, as right now they live under control of the government. And another one is institution. Institution can refer to the mechanism which govern behaviors of the set of individual within a given community or more. Institutions are definitely with a social purpose, transcending individual and intention by mediating rule that govern living behaviors. Now continue with the second point, talking about the institution of government of Singapore. There are 5. The first one is executive. Executive mainly it rule to make the public policy. It refer to the government, the head of state, the head of government which elect in democrats. The executive elect by the people to lead the country, to give the direction to the country, internal, in the domestic affair or international affair. It mainly focus on the role and the purpose of government in cabinet. For example, Halima Jacob, who is the first female to elect as the president of Singapore. I mean, the first president of Singapore is a woman, and the president play as the head of state. But in practice, most of power, most authority are exercised by a cabinet that led by Prime Minister of Singapore. That that he is famous. His name is Lee Kuan Yew, and his son continue as the Prime Minister, which so-called Lee Long. And the cabinet is referred to the Prime Minister who govern the ministry to appoint by Prime Minister. Lee Hsien Loong is the current Singapore Prime Minister right now. Talking about the legislature. Legislature is a group which is represent people as the elects by people. It rule as the group who defend interests of citizens, making law, and forming government, ensuring accountability of minister. We have to be very clear that legislature is referred to the representative that elect by people as their representative. They play as defend interests of the people, making law, and to provide peace, stability in the country. And it also a person who make accountability to prime minister that appointed by prime minister. And for example, in the Singapore elect in Singapore last decade had 104 seats, and the most of it come from People X Party. Its party has dominated in Singapore Parliament nowadays, and other of few representatives come from other several opposition parties in Singapore. The party which so-called People Action Party that founded by Lee Kuan Yew and currently led by his son right now dominate in the Singapore. And other one is judicial and court. It refers to the system of government in which they are appointed by leader rather than elected by people. It rules to implement the state policy and give advice to the Prime Minister. For example, in Singapore, there are more than 60 Prime Ministers, such as Prime Minister of Transportation, Prime Minister of Defense, and other like Minister of Education and Prime Minister who govern the ministry are appointed by Prime Minister. Other one is a political party. Political party is referred to the organization of group of people or body who seek capture a political power through the election or the affair of the country. It means in Singapore or in our country, people have right to join the politics or to found the political party, and they realize the policy to attract people to vote for them in the national election. After they win the election, they win more representative. They can appoint a Prime Minister to lead the country. It ruled by office sharing policy, alternative filling cabinet, forming government, and opposition party. Example, People Act Party. It party has dominated in Singapore Parliament nowadays, and other opposition party in Singapore like Worker Party, of Singapore Progress Singapore Party. And let's go to the third point. Find a theoretical approach to comparative politics of Singapore. The first one is the institution approach. We can understand politics and government by focus on institution. It talks briefly about the source of politics and function of institution of government. Example: executive, legislative, judicial, and court, and bureaucracy and a political party. And talking about the rational approach. Rational approach is focus on individual and other assumption that we are all driven by desire to make our own interest. People are rational in sense that given the goal and alternative strength from which to choose, they will elect and will maximize their chance to achieve their goal. And continue, for example, in Singapore, the politician want to hold power by competition in the politics, and the citizen want the best politician who can develop the country in terms of economic, society and education. Cultural approach. It refers to the matter of more understanding of government and political culture as the source of it, mainly focus on the history. We can figure out what has gone through in terms of politics and government. In addition, the culture over influence in politics and government is important in Singapore. Talking about the structuralism, it refers to the relationship among the parts of political system formed as the structure whose role is more important than that of individual parts. Structuralism is focused on relationship. The structuralism argues that we must go beyond the rationality of individual actors, and in word of linkage and measurement. Other one is the interpretive approach. We have a look at the theory where we focus is institution, individual, and group society. We need to grab and relevant meaning, belief, and preference of other involved. And talking about the conclusion, the first one is introduction that describe briefly on the Singapore, what the article want to talk about, and definition some key term that exist in article. It mean the first one here I briefly talking about the Singapore, where is the Singapore location, and the Singapore is the developed country, and the second is I point out that we have searched and write about the institution of Singapore, that is content 5 point. Executive refer to the head of state, head of government, or the leader that elect by people to rule the country of Singapore. And according from the historical of Singapore, there are only two prime ministers that rule in the country. The first one is the founder of Singapore. He is known as the Lee Kuan Yew, and the second is he thrown the power by his father, known as Lee Kuan Yew. And talking about the president, Singapore has only one has first famous president to rule the country, and mainly The authority and the power mainly exercised by executive refer to the prime minister. And talking about the legislative, it refer to the a person who is representative of the people, elect the people, make accountability of executive. And judicial refer to institute who defend interests of people, defend justice, peace of the people. And talking about the political party, it mainly focus on group of political who join the national election to win the country. And the final is article focus on five theoretical approach who comparative politics of Singapore. Encompass many other institutions, both formal and informal. And here is a reference. I have more than 5 reference to search and read briefly on the book. And thank you for watching this video.